fun.
I love you.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
So cute.
She is.
Am I right?
She is
So
very cute.
Okay.
Yes, this is Raymond Aaron again, the founder and interviewer of Respark Your Life. And I have with me Austin Mao. And the title of this episode is Together, from Longing to Belonging. And he is in the Transformational Leadership Council with me, 100 of the greatest transformational leaders in the world. And he is one, but the reason that I'm interviewing him as opposed to the 99 others is because he does transformation in a very special way, actually in only one state in the United States. And he's pretty soon going to reveal it all to you. But Austin, before we get started on the present, on what you're doing in the present, was there something in your past when you were a little boy that you can look back to now and say, that was the seed for my becoming a transformational leader in my adulthood? Can you think of what that might be?
Absolutely. Very clear memory because I've visited this and shared it before. I was about 8 years old. And I remember walking to my mother's room and she was broken down on the floor crying, leaned up against a chest of drawers. And, when I think back to my childhood self, sometimes it's hard to remember that I was that small. Like she's broken down on the floor crying and I'm head height with her, right? And I walk up to her and I just want to console her. And at that age, I used to sing, just improvised song,
Wow.
And I sang to my mom a song to try to soothe her. Now, I didn't know it at that time, but my mom had just broken up with her boyfriend. My parents divorced when I was 1, and I'm a single child raised by a single mom, and this was the love of her life. But to me as a little kid, all I wanted to do was just save my mom.
Yes.
And so in that moment, a part of me was born, this savior complex, to try to help the feminine in my life, and then ultimately people in my life. And fast forward many, many, many years, I've joined TLC because gave a talk a couple months ago around connection and togetherness. And at the core of the work that I do, it is at the intersection of connection and psychedelics. So,
yes, psychedelics. That's the interesting thing. And he's the only one, or maybe one of the very few, who use psychedelics as professionally in their professional work. So let's fast forward. What is it? What do you do that is so unique and so special?
Well, I'm a licensed natural medicine facilitator under Colorado state law, where serving psilocybin mushrooms is legal. And
this is magic mushroom.
Magic mushrooms, the most magical kinds.
Yes.
And Ceremonia, the nonprofit and legal organization which I'm a founder, we are one of the leading retreats in the United States by volume of the number of people that we've served.
Wow.
And collectively, over the past 5 or so years, I've worked with, now probably over 650 individuals, ranging from combat veterans to Fortune 500 executives, from teachers and dentists to transformational leaders themselves, to New York Times bestselling authors and top psychologists, etc. And what we do is a multi-day retreat container where people come in as strangers very quickly through really well-defined processes informed by the latest in neuroscience, psychology, mindfulness, end up feeling so connected with each other, like sharing with each other a level of depth that they've never shared with anyone before.
This is before the magic mushroom.
Before the magic mushrooms, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And also things that I facilitate online. So people get very surprised that on Zoom, they can feel so connected with one another that more so than even some of their closest friends. And then going into very, very, like the most transformative experiences of their lives.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So You told me the occupations of the people who come to you. But what I want to know is the psychotraumatic background. Did they come to you because they have a problem? Because they were whipped by their father, raped by their uncle, or something like that? Did they come with those issues?
You know, we have a variety of people that come to us with a variety of issues. You know, we just concluded a retreat this past Sunday, and an individual came who had been taking SSRIs for over 30 years for high levels of anxiety.
I don't know what that is.
Antidepressants.
Okay.
Couldn't sleep without taking Xanax every single night.
Oh gosh.
You know, and you know, in this experience, each ceremony, each session would begin with a familiar sense of anxiety, of dread, etc., and then he would ask for help. You know, one of the things that we do is we have people practice asking for help, because man, how many of us are comfortable actually asking for support?
We'd rather help other people.
Totally, yeah. And he got support, was able to work through it. Next session, same thing. Anxiety come up, got through it, was able to ask for support, right? Third session, anxiety comes up, and a facilitator of mine says, "Hey, Joe over there is pacing around again. Should we go help him?" And I sit to him, "No, let him be. He needs to find his own way." And sure enough, in about an hour, he's back on his mat, smiling. And later, as he would relate his story, he in his pacing, he was feeling the feeling, but in that time, he did something very different than he was able to do in life.
Yes.
Which is to give that part of him compassion.
Yes.
To be curious about it, to nurture that inner child as if it was a child on the side of the road. And so, you know, Joe is emblematic of a class of people that come to us because they've heard something about or seen some research about how psychedelic assisted therapy can be like 40 years of therapy in 10 hours. That's what the research is showing. Other classes of people, you know, I've worked with Silicon Valley unicorn founders, companies that are $1 billion and above. And there have been several front page Wall Street Journal mergers and acquisitions or IPOs that have come from work that they did within.
Really?
Yeah, I can't name names, but you know,
yes,
within Ceremonia and within our psychedelic containers, where they would have realizations, epiphanies. They would have extraordinary ideas and then go back in the world and implement it. One person who is considered one of the top female founders in the tech founders in the world now has an AI company. And I remember I was speaking at Richard Branson's first psychedelic summit in a year and a half ago on Necker Island. And as I'm flying out, she's flying in on Tuesday. And she sends me a draft of the keynote speech that she's about to give to 49 other AI tech founders, you know. And half of her speech was about her psychedelic experience, showing her that love is really what they are all here for. And you might think, like, how can a tech founder be talking about love? And what's interesting is that it actually doesn't matter what you do, where you come from, you know, how much money you have, what your dreams or aspirations are. Like, love is so foundational of a human experience, so
Yes.
core to what drives us, that it is valuable, implementable in any part of the human experience, whether that be relationship or career or self-expression. You know, so
Okay.
it's all over the map.
Okay, so I've never admitted this in public before, but in the 60s, I did magic mushroom quite a few times, either guided or just alone in quiet. And I loved the experiences, but I don't know if they were transformative for me. I just enjoyed them.
Mm.
So how does Ceremonia create that psychedelic experience so that it transforms?
Yeah. So first of all, about 12% of Americans use psychedelics per year. A lot of people don't realize that.
No.
9 million, approximately 9 to 9.5 million Americans microdose. which is a small amount of psilocybin, sometimes per day, multiple days a week.
Really?
Mhm.
Just to get like a little buzz.
Microdosing is very how to put trendy now. And
Really?
I'm not giving medical advice, but many people are replacing antidepressants and medications, pharmaceuticals, with microdosing. There's a lot of research out there, and I invite the consumer, the listener, to go and just ask ChatGPT or Google, or just look for the research. With that said, the vast majority of people having psychedelic experiences are having them in a non-therapeutic or non-ceremonial context, right? Out with friends, at festivals, listening to music, watching movies, etc. And I remember before going to my first ceremony, I had done psychedelics over 100 times, many years of festivals, Burning Man, camping, so on and so forth. So I went in with a chip on my shoulder thinking, what could this show me that all these various experiences hasn't shown me already?
Got it.
And in my first psychedelic experience, in my first ceremonial experience, the first thing I had was like a vision, but not so much a vision. It's like, have you ever had a dream that when you dreamt it, it felt so real?
Yes.
You're
Yes.
like, and you woke up and you're like, which one is reality?
Yes.
So imagine a dream that vivid that I'm living, and I'm being enveloped in my mother's arms as I drink milk from her breast as a child, and I'm just feeling the incredible amount of safety and love that was
Wow.
flowing through me. Deeply healing experience. Then what felt like an eternity afterwards, but probably just a few, like 30 minutes afterwards, I then lived an experience of introducing to my father, who had passed 5 years prior from cancer, introducing to him my then wife. And I didn't even know the level of catharsis that would be for me. I showed him a reel of the men that I had become, in that time period. And it was so beautiful, and I felt him smiling in his warmth. And it wasn't like he was dead and I was grieving. I was just in love with him, sharing love with him. And he was fully present with me, as if he were alive and in me, not just with me, but in me at that moment.
So if you take psilocybin or magic mushroom, you will have an experience. But if you're in a ceremony where the leader sets it up so that you are going to have a transformational experience, then that's when it happens.
Yeah, so when people do psychedelics outside, your attention is external, right? So right now, if I look at you, my attention is on how you're looking back at me, and I'm answering your questions, etc. But if I close my eyes and my attention, and I take a breath, and my attention goes internal, I can feel in my body like a sense of calm, but also a sense of like raciness as I notice how fast I'm speaking. I can notice the tingles in my arms.
Yes.
So my attention goes internal with intention. So there are two different contexts, right? If you take, in the 60s, I imagine when you took magic mushrooms, you're with your friends or you're listening to music, your attention is outside. And that can provide a really beautiful experience. You can connect with nature, you can connect with your friends very deeply. But in the context of a therapeutic or ceremonial session, it's often blindfolded and in the dark, and your attention goes inwards into yourself, into your memories, your feelings.
Okay, so I have a weird question that may be difficult for you to answer. And that is, every one of the members of TLC came up with some vision. And they gave speeches on it, and then held workshops on it, and then they wrote books on it, and then they became internationally famous and all that stuff. And on the side, made a great deal of money, but that's not why they started it. They started it because they had something to teach. But you created your company, Ceremonia, as a nonprofit. Why?
I have a complex relationship with money.
Okay.
My mother, when she was young, she was born into an extremely wealthy Chinese family. Her father owned banks and factories and one of the first cars in China. And then overnight, the Communist Party took over power, put her father in prison, sent her to the fields to work 16 hours a day, milling for rice and corn in the frigid winters near North Korea. She witnessed her family members being beheaded and hanged, and it was a very rough time. My father was a son of a farmer in Taiwan and a stowaway to America, and that's where they met. And so my relationship with money is at once like high anxiety, which can lead to high performer. I've started 5 companies. I've been in finance and tech and real estate and quite successful in those ventures. And at the same time, like almost like disregarding of the value of money and how much energy it takes to make money. And mixed my mother and father's journey together, here I am. Now, I give this talk sometimes, as you know, I've spoken all around the world as well. And one of the talks I give is from the shadow to the light. And whereas once I was, had the savior complex, which led me to form a healing organization, help so many people, but at great cost to my own physical and energetic health, right? Because I burnt out, because that part was hyperactive. The light part of that is that I've learned compassion. And I've learned to be able to hold people, but not get fused with their experience, not suffer when they're suffering, right? And that's been really remarkable for me to learn and adopt. The same journey I'm having with money, from the shadow of not really having a clear relationship with money, to one in which money is a tool for the betterment of myself and for the world. So with that said, as a nonprofit, what I believe is that people's healing shouldn't be made for profit. Healing with plant medicine, where I personally go and generate profit is in teaching and in courses and things like that, right? I do believe that plant medicine is a gift from nature, Mother Earth, Pachamama, and there is a reciprocity that I think is deserving here for that. And it takes a lot to run an organization of this caliber. We don't simply just give people mushrooms and then let them trip. We have extraordinarily well-trained facilitators. Yes. We do an 8-week program at a minimum, followed by a 6-month coaching program. We have a retreat center, and it just there's a huge budget that is necessary to facilitate that. And so, all this to say that there is a value that I hold around how this type of healing with plant medicine, I believe, should be held in a nonprofit context. It also provides safety for people who believe that at least you're doing it for the right reasons, not to make a ton of money on it.
You know what? Well, you know what you've just done?
Yeah.
I run lots of workshops, and I really put my heart and soul into it. And they work really well, and I've helped so many people over more than 40 years. But there's one thing I do, just like you, I never realized it. I am a qualified past life regressionist. I can take people to a previous lifetime. They choose which lifetime they should go to and which episode in that lifetime. They don't know they're consciously doing it, but they do it. And I guide them, I make it safe. And for some reason, just like you, I say, but I'm never going to charge for it. It's too sacred. It feels wrong. I could charge. I mean, people ask me all the time. And I say, look, I'm not going to do it as a circus stunt. I'm doing it only if I can heal something in this lifetime that I think actually comes from a previous lifetime. And so I've done it about 30 times. That's quite a bit, but it's not that much. And I do it only when it really calls me to do it. So now I understand more deeply why you would want it as a nonprofit. You make money in your other businesses. This one, it's kind of sacred or special. I get it. Okay, good.
It's already plenty expensive without
without
Yeah,
adding
without the
profit onto
profit
it. Yeah, okay.
factor. Yeah.
I get it. Okay, so you told us about one success story. Tell us another.
Oof. Well, 350 people have gone through Ceremonia so far. And out of that, first we provide a money back guarantee if you don't have a life-changing transformation.
Really?
So what we do is when you come through the doors, we do an intake video and we ask you, what would transformation look like for you? And then we do 3 ceremonies over the course of 6 days. And at the end, we record an outro video. We show your intake video. Then you record an outro video and we ask you, what did you experience? And 100% of people have experienced a life-changing transformation. We have never had anyone exercise the money
And they
back
state it
guarantee.
specifically. It's not a general, I feel wonderful. It's specific.
Specific, yeah. Yeah, and it's 100% of the time, it's more than they expected.
Wow.
And so like, gosh, I'll give you another one that's very interesting. Someone just came who is a spiritual teacher, and she has been working with her particular form of meditation for more than 40 years, right? Gone through innumerable retreats and trainings, has sat with plant medicine many, many times, psilocybin, ayahuasca, MDMA, so various different psychedelic experiences. But she came in really scared because the last time that she was with ayahuasca, it was a pleasant experience, but the 8 months after were excruciating for her. And that's because what psychedelics can do is they can stir up something that was meant to be suppressed for a reason.
Yes, yes.
Right? For example, when we had a combat veteran who saw his friends killed in action, and you can't walk around life with that at the surface of your consciousness. You wouldn't be a functioning human being.
Yes.
And so our psyche suppresses that. Something got surfaced that was really challenging for her to be with, and she didn't have the proper support during the experience and afterwards. And in this experience, what was so interesting is the first ceremony, deep amounts of grief were coming out, almost uncontrollable crying for hours. And someone was sitting with her and just pouring compassion into her. She felt drained and was scared to go into the second experience. Second experience comes around, and this very courageous woman, petite woman, again, an hour of sobbing and crying. But right as she was relaying that, it was so exhausting for her that she just wanted to fully collapse. That's when things started to turn around. And I sat with her and supported her with various processes that you might be familiar with: somatic experiencing, internal family systems, various tool sets from psychotherapy and mindfulness training. And she was able to approach a part of her that was buried so deep that over 40 years of inner work had not been able to touch.
Wow.
And at the conclusion of that session, she asked that part, "What do you need?" And the part replied very quietly, "Spacious love." In the third ceremony, she also had high anxiety going into it. She's like, "Oh my God, it was so hard these last 2 ceremonies. How can I do it a third time?" And then, sure enough, within an hour of the ceremony starting, massive tears come out. But then I heard it go quiet. And then I let it sit. And when I went to check on her, I saw this smile on her face, just like this, with her eyes closed. And later she would relate that what she was doing is she was giving those parts of her, all parts of her, spacious love. And they all came and greeted her inside of her. Everything that she's ever disowned, everything that she's ever suppressed, and then just offering spacious love to all her parts.
Wow.
And she relayed that more than 40 years of inner healing work and teaching others, this was the most transformative experience she's ever had.
That's quite a job that you do. Other people work in restaurants or they're plumbers. That's your job.
I'm very grateful. I'm really, really, really grateful. Yeah.
I think that everyone in Transformational Leadership Council is grateful. We get to do what we love, and we're good at it. And people appreciate it and are helped by it. Yeah, so this is a very special place. Yeah. We're actually in Hawaii together at a Transformational Leadership Council meeting. Yeah. That's why we're. Oh, I took my lei off, but I was wearing my lei before, and you're wearing a Hawaiian thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So, how can they follow up on you? Can they go to your website and learn all about your ceremonies?
Yep. Ceremoniacircle.org or Instagram at Ceremonia Circle. Also on YouTube, every channel. Yeah, Ceremonia Circle.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And you're writing a book right
I'm-
now? That'll come out later?
Yeah, working title is Together, and it's really about. It's actually not around psychedelics, but it's around connection and how to bring connection into your life, even with strangers.
From longing
To belong.
to belonging.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank
You're
you,
so
Austin.
welcome. Thank you,
What a
Raymond.
great interview. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Alrighty. How was that for you?
That was superb.